learning new details about the fallout from Houston Police Sergeant Harold Preston's death. Two of the HPD officers who responded to the scene, along with Preston, are facing disciplinary action. And now we're finding out why. KPRC2 investigator Robert Arnold is live where this all started in Southwest Houston with new details on the fallout. So, Robert, what have you learned?
Well, even though the person who is charged with murdering Sergeant Harold Preston is in jail and awaiting trial, questions lingered as to why one officer in particular lost her job. That was one of the officers who was on the scene when Sergeant Preston was gunned down. In response to a Texas Public Information Act request, those questions have now been answered. A 41-year veteran of the department, Sergeant Harold Preston was loved and respected. Elmer Manzano is accused of gunning down Preston during a domestic violence call last October at these apartments on Holly Hall.
And we pray for them.
President of the Houston Police Officers Union, Douglas Griffith, is talking about the reasons an officer on the scene that day was indefinitely suspended. Officer Vanessa Taylor, on the force just 5 years, was first to arrive at the complex and is accused of not properly handling complaints from Manzano's estranged wife and son that he had a gun and was violent. Throughout the course of this incident, Officer Taylor showed a severe lack of sound judgment. Former Police Chief Art Acevedo wrote in his termination letter. Taylor was taken to task for not promptly dealing with Manzano and allowing him to walk into his apartment and lock himself behind a gate. Even worse, HPD records show when Preston approached Manzano's apartment and the first shots were fired, Taylor did not return fire. Despite having an admitted tactical advantage when shots were fired, Officer Taylor went into the breezeway between apartment units and ran to the back of the apartment building, Acevedo wrote. Officer Taylor did not take any action to assist or establish communication with Sergeant Preston, who was lying face down next to the front door. Officer Taylor took no action to engage or otherwise stop the threat. Griffith says Taylor is expected to appeal her termination.
At the end of the day, she has a right to fair representation. She will receive that right.
Now, as we mentioned, another officer also faced discipline over that shooting of Sergeant Harold Preston. We have more details about that on click2houston.com. Reporting live from Southeast Houston, Robert Arnold, KPRC 2 News.